Hey there, we're live again with Channel CEO Podcast, and today I'm super excited to have our guest on. This is the second time that our guest, she's been on our podcast. She's arguably the most influential person in this industry in the last 20 years, probably had the most impact on MSPs and their ability to grow, scale, and become mature organizations over the last 20 years. So with that, I'm going to, not delay and bring her onto the stage. We go. Welcome, Miss Robin Robbins. How are
Hey,
you?
see, everybody with that intro, they thought it was going to be somebody else, like Taylor Swift or something like that.
You're right up there. Economic impact, maturity. Come on, you're right there.
Hey,
So
I'll take it. I don't want to be Taylor Swift. I just don't. That's
yeah,
zero appeal to me. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm not down on her. I'm just, just not my thing. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of middle-aged guys, geeks, and try and teach them how to do marketing and sell stuff. And that's more
yeah.
my jam.
I thought for sure you're gonna say you're a Swiftie, but I guess not.
No.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a Swiftie. All right. Yeah. I'm swiftly trying to increase sales, maybe, but other than that, I'm not a Swiftie. Yeah. So
There you go. Look, I wanna really dig into this some of these topics today because we are at a really, really interesting point in the evolution of this industry. We've got hyper competition coming in from both ends of the marketplace. You've got the natural organic, upstarts of new MSPs coming to the marketplace, but that feels like that's been accelerated lately. Then you've got folks coming downstream from, the whole, TSD reseller world trying to latch onto the, MRR, ARR, revenue models. And then you got AI, you got election cycles, you got all this stuff just starting to, come together at one moment. And I think it's like the next couple of months. So I really want to pick your brain on where you see this market going, and maybe some of the trends and data you're seeing here. I guess based on your research and what you're looking at for the next couple of months.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of data on this. We just published an election year MSP market forecast report. I don't have it up yet to give anybody on a URL. I can tell you if you go, am I allowed to give a URL? Because I can give you one.
Absolutely, yeah.
It will be posted here eventually, mspmarketingroadshow.com, mspmarketingroadshow.com. I just don't have it a specific place where we're going to, there'll be a / something and we'll have it on that site, but I just don't have it up yet. I just got it finalized, proofread, and we're getting ready to launch that. So yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of trends here. So I mean, I'll just follow your lead. I don't know what you want to talk about. I mean,
well, let's start let's start with the kind of flood of new entrants, right? You've been in a space for quite some time. You've seen kind of the ebbs and flows, and there's obviously market, there's cyclical, natures of markets. There's spikes and ebbs and flows and all that stuff, but it does seem like there's a market increase in the number of new MSPs coming into this space over the last, call it 2 or 3 years. I don't know if it's, people are again latching onto this ARR, MRR business model, if it's, the rise of M&A, but, are you guys seeing that kind of that same level of flooding of the market, new competitors coming in and starting to make a run at this marketplace?
yeah, I mean, for sure. It's, right after 2020, we saw a lot of attrition because our members were getting acquired, so good for them. I was very happy to see that. Obviously it hurts when you lose, and they're always your best members too. They're always the ones that have good businesses. So, you don't mind if someone's not a great customer, but and I think a lot of MSPs are experience that as well. The customers they lose to no fault of their own, they're losing it to M&A. So that is definitely slowed down. And what I find kind of interesting is this year alone, I'm talking from now to we got some numbers through July. We've added over 1,500 brand new MSPs to our database. Wow. And we're only focusing on North America. So just so everyone knows, we do marketing, but we focus primarily on North America. We do have a lot of clients international, roughly about 5 to 8% of our client base is international from, Australia. Of course, we get a lot of people from Australia and England, Canada, I consider that part of North America. But yeah, so see 1,500 new MSPs starting up, and that's pretty significant. And then I saw some news that came out of DattoCon EMEA, and just DattoCon, I guess, in general. And there is a 3-to-1 ratio of 3 for every MSP that is getting merged or acquired. 3 brand new MSPs are starting up.
Wow.
And what we're seeing, if in our database, I mean, we're getting real-time market knowledge, because I mean, to get 1,500 new leads, I mean, and these are leads. So think about it this way: these are new leads. That doesn't necessarily mean that's we're not getting 100% of the MSPs that are starting, right? I mean, because we're just getting. I mean, we're really good at marketing, so what percentage that is starting up has got to be pretty significant. But what we are seeing with the ones that are coming in, they tend to be smaller. So they're the IT manager of a company or a business, and the company is saying, we're going to outsource IT now. And the IT director leader is trying to save their job, is like, hey, how about I become, you can outsource to me. Don't fire me. Like, well, fire me, but like, you be my first customer. Right. So that, or we're just seeing IT people leaving jobs and wanting to start their own MSP. I think what they're seeing is the opportunity. There was a lot of opportunity, Kevin, if you remember, 2020 was a little bit of a weird year, but 2021, 22, even into 23 was like, we were in an order taking economy for MSPs, where it was basically, if you couldn't survive during those years, then you do not have any, you should not be running a business. I remember we had the sharks from Shark Tank on stage that one year, and they all said, this is as good as it's going to get for guys. Like there are other businesses and industries that would crawl naked over rusty nails and broken glass to get the opportunities you guys have right now. And if you're not making it happen now, you're never going to make it happen. So that was like 2021, 22, even into 23, but that has changed a lot, because we have seen this influx of new MSPs. We are seeing persistent inflation. We are seeing the job market, is softening, but where you're seeing it soften is the bottom end of the market, meaning, like if you get below 3% unemployment, you're basically employing the unemployable, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so tech talent, engineers are still they're at a premium, right? So that, that hasn't helped there. So you got all these things happening right now, election year, but yeah, we are seeing definitely an uptick of brand new MSPs. And when they come in, typically they're the typical technician suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure, E-myth, right? And the way they get customers is they go cheap. So they're anything for a buck. And so that's also driving price sensitivity. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody has to lower their price, and that doesn't mean that people won't pay for good quality IT support. But when you've got a flood of small, cheaper competitors, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? It does make it more difficult to sustain your margins and your price points.
Yeah, look, I think it's one of the things that we're seeing is that, to your point, the margin erosion it's real, right? It's the competitive, forces coming up and coming down. It's the kit cost, or the kit getting so crammed with different solutions. And I think one of the other interesting elements of this whole M&A bender that we've been on for the last couple of years is that the access to quality talent is really becoming a challenge, right? It's great that we have lower unemployment, but the monolith, the larger MSPs, they can afford to pay a premium for the tech talent, which is really, I think, squeezing a lot of the MSPs in the middle of the marketplace, looking for the right folks. It's almost like, kind of reminds me back, I'm in the DC area, and for the last 20, 30 years, you've seen an individual that might be in the IT space, or any discipline for that matter, if they have a clearance, right? Clearance was like gold in the DC marketplace, and you'd see somebody in, they'd work at a large consulting firm for 6 months, and then you get an offer for $20,000 more, and they're jumping around, and it's created this just chaotic scenario here. And I feel like that's the same thing that's happening in the MSP space, right? You got the tech talent, being, crushed. And we saw today's unemployment numbers were were pretty tragic. But yeah, I mean, I guess are you seeing kind of some of the similar trends with this kind of rush to M&A and kind of I don't know, that the heyday of M&A the last couple of years? You're seeing that as an impact as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, we just had Reed Warren, who's CEO of IT Valuations. That's all they do
Mhm.
is value. They provide valuation for your MSP, getting it ready to sell, and then they also do the services of helping you broker a deal and sell. So that's all they do, and very very knowledgeable, smart guy. And he said M&A is off right now. I mean,
Mhm.
so the reason being, I think you saw this surge after 2020 of a bunch of people buying MSPs. Interest rates are up. And I think buyers have just become pickier because they got to, because of interest rates being more, number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Today, because we also get a ton of people coming to me. It's not a week that doesn't go by when I don't get a LinkedIn message, an email, a phone call, somebody saying, "Hey, Robin, we're a buyer, we're a PE firm. Can you help introduce us to MSPs that are looking to sell?" But the thing is, they don't want just anybody looking to sell. They're looking for MSPs that have $1 million or more of EBITDA.
Mhm.
And they're pickier because the cost, like a couple of them I've talked to, they said, the cost of acquiring a really small MSP, let's say they're doing $400,000 in EBITDA, the cost of acquiring them, the integration, the merging, it's not worth it for them.
Mhm.
So they're looking for more quality now. So there's a lot of MSPs that are going, well, hey, I'm getting near retirement age. I really want to cash out, or I'm getting tired. I don't want to do this anymore. If you're not really getting 15%, 18% EBITDA margins and have good books, meaning like I'm talking like there's some MSPs that say, well, we're making 30%, but they're counting their salary and there's all these things that they're adding in and they're counting as EBITDA, which is not EBITDA. So they're financially ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Real quality EBITDA is what buyers want today. And if you're thinking about exiting your MSP, you really have to start planning 3 to 5 years out, because they're also going to do a look back. You had a great year, but 2 years prior, you were sucking eggs. They're like, well, what's changed? What's happened? So I think I'm not saying M&A is not happening. I'm not saying there's no opportunity to sell your business. The multiples in this industry are still better than a lot of other industries. So that's all positive. But I think more of the MSPs out there have to think about their business as an asset they are preparing to sell and exit, if they're looking to exit within the next 3 to 5 years and really have good financials, good account management, good growth. I mean, really best in class type metrics if they're going to get the multiples that they actually want to get.
Yeah. So when I was doing your introduction, it wasn't hyperbole. You've arguably, or no, you haven't arguably, you have had the biggest impact on this industry, honestly, in the last, let's call it last 20 years. I mean, worked with what 20,000 odd MSPs plus. You've seen the market cycles, you've seen the ups and downs, you've seen several election, cycles, and the impact of election cycles. What do you think is different, or is anything different about this year, from an election standpoint, from a sales and marketing standpoint, from a macroeconomic standpoint, that might have you concerned? Or is it, do you look at it as an opportunity? I mean, what are you kind of thinking about this year when it comes to the impact of the election and the uncertainty of the election?
Well, yeah, because we're in an election year, you can't really trust anything the news tells you because it's going to be all filtered. But, so like one of our experts in residence, Greg Crabtree, is one of the lead advisors of a top 25 accounting firm in the US, specializing in working with small, mid-sized companies. And they are like, he just came in and was reporting on what they're seeing across about $1 billion in revenue, accounting that they're accounting for in small, mid-sized businesses. And right now, any growth you're seeing, like when they talk about revenue growth, it's really not growth. It is a reaction to persistent inflation, where companies are raising prices in order to combat the growing persistent cumulative inflation. So that's the thing the news never talks about. They're like, well, inflation's down. It's like, no, it's not, because it was 11%, then it was 7%. Well, that adds on. So the American dollar has lost, I think it last I saw was 25% of its value since 2020. So something in 2020, which isn't that long ago, that would only cost, that you would, your buying power of $1 is now worth 75 cents. And that's only 3.5, 4 years later. So, the economy has changed. The metrics have changed. So there's really, the economy is stagnant, right? The only thing that's propping it up, I think, is a tough labor market, in the sense that there's, people are trying to hire. I think that's the only thing that is propping it up. Then you add on that the election year. Okay. So typically in any election year, you are going to see a suppression of buyer activity, right? So people tend to hold on to their money. Markets like certainty. And when you're in an uncertain time, like who's going to be president for the next 4 years and what's going to happen, people tend to just sit on their money a little bit. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, right now I'm hearing repeatedly from MSPs that deals are not closing as quickly as they can. I mean, we just pulled some data, and only 23% of the qualified opportunities MSPs are getting in front of are even closing. Wow. And so that, plus price sensitivity, so right now in any election year, you're going to see just people holding on to their money and waiting to see. And that's what it's happening this year. And I just saw the other day that early voting is down significantly from 2020. I think that's because with Biden and Harris, like, who's going to actually be the candidate? Is Trump actually going to not get assassinated between now and the election? I'm not saying that lightly. I mean, I think that there's just massive uncertainty. And when people are uncertain, even as we get closer to the election, I think you're going to see it tougher and tougher and tougher. And then I think we roll right into the Christmas season. So I don't think we're really going to see, if we see any kind of uptick, I don't think we're really going to see that until Q1, Q2. But even then, I don't know. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball to tell, but it's notorious in election years that you're going to see a suppression of sales activity typically. Now, there's always going to be winners in every place. You're going to have, like I have several clients who are telling me they're closing deals hand over fist, making money, printing money. So you always have those people, but I'm just talking in general. It's getting tougher to get sales. It's getting tougher. Lead flow, for example, right now, based on the data we're seeing from January, is down 40%. Inbound leads coming in. Part of that, again, election, people are uncertain, market economy is stagnant, and also digital ad rates, because as we get closer to the election, in 2020, it was a record year of spend on digital or on political ad spend. I mean, we went from, I think it was in 2016, it was about 3 billion, 2.9 billion, 3 billion was spent on political ads. And in 2020, I think it was 9 billion was spent. You have to fact check me. I have my numbers here somewhere. I can double check that. This year, they're anticipating that is going to be 31% higher. So yeah, I got it right here. So 9 billion, we spent 9 billion, up from 2.6 billion. And what happens, like the digital marketplace, Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, they're basically selling eyeballs. And so digital ad spend is up exponentially. Getting a qualified lead for MSPs is up exponentially. So, again, if you're doing marketing right now and you're not getting the response that you're used to or you've seen in the past, there's reasons for that this is definitely a trend downward and costs going up to get more qualified leads. So yeah, welcome to an election year, and a tough one at that.
It's good to hear that you have your finger in the pulse, but it's mind-boggling to think that there's going to be a 31% increase in ad spend, and how that ad spend actually impacts the overall cost per click, cost per conversion across the entire economy. Because everyone's fighting for attention, eyeballs. They're flooding the market with money on these ads, and it's going to have sounds like it's going to have a pretty significant impact. And that's what's worrying. I mean, again, we had this interesting jobs report come out. The jobs if I forget the actual number, I just saw the flash on Bloomberg a little while ago, but I think it was down like to 114,000 new jobs added. And so it's almost like it's interesting that we're having this chat today because I feel like this is setting up what's going to be arguably a pretty challenging next 4 or 5 months until we get through the election cycle, have some certainty, and then
I don't think it's going to be until Q1, maybe even.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be flat for a while. And even then, I don't know that all of a sudden we're going to surge out of this. I just don't see it. Inflation being as persistent as it is, the tough labor market, the overall global economy is a little stale right now.
Yeah.
If anything, if I had to bet, and I'm not, and look, there's no benefit for me to say things are bad. I just want people to know, like, oh, you're trying to scare us and tell us everything is terrible.
Pragmatic. I mean, being a realist.
Like there is no benefit to me to be beating this drum because when people get scared, they don't spend money.
Yeah.
And what they typically cut is marketing. So like, trust me, I'm not helping myself by, I should be saying the opposite, but I'm just telling you the truth. And I think that there needs to be a different approach. And I don't think, because I don't think all is lost. I'm not here saying all is lost. What I am saying is right now, when you're growing a business and there are seasons in a business, right? And there's seasons even outside the economy. I was just talking to somebody the other day, very successful MSP, 20 million. They specialize in the dental industry. And they said, look, during the summer months, dentists are full on making money because all the kids are out of school. Everybody's getting stuff done. In the fall, when everybody goes back to school, kids go back to school, things quiet down. And that's when IT spend frees up. Well, that's like a cyclical trend. So you just got to know if you're selling to a dentist, you better be going full on crazy in the summer months about, or maybe, for me would be like, as a marketing person, I'd be like, hey, you got to be marketing. And then if I'm selling IT services, I might not put as much money into my marketing. I might focus my efforts on other things, research and development, going deeper with my current client base, new products and services, resetting the board, so to speak. And then the fall, getting ready in the fall when they're going to be spending the money. That's when you want to turn your focus and say, we really need the market. It's like when we sell sponsorships, we got to hit a window of like October to December to get the big budgets. And so, because if you don't hit that window, the rest of the year is not going to be great. So I think right now it's not all that's lost. I think you just have to change your strategy on what you're doing and how you're doing it. And if you do that, I think you can, like I said, I've got clients right now that are making a lot of money and they're following some of the strategies. I'm happy to share with you what we're kind of advising clients now. But I just think right now, like, for example, I'm telling people, like, maybe if you've not been doing pay-per-click and digital ads, probably now's not the time to start. And I sell digital advertising. Kevin, again, I'm not helping myself. So I'm telling my clients who are coming to me going, Robin, we want to hire you to do pay-per-click. I'm like, you know what? Let's hold on that right now. I'd rather you spend the money doing like SEO and getting your website really dialed in. And then let's look at digital ads once this damn election and Christmas is over, and then we can hit Q1. So, I think there is a strategy shift here so that you are being more prudent with where you're spending your time and money and where you're going to get the biggest bang for the buck right now.
Yeah, look, I think that's invaluable. And again, it goes back to having been through these market cycles and, no one can obviously accurately predict the future, but that experience and that ability to kind of coach these MSPs, I think is invaluable. And I've seen that at these road shows, and I didn't necessarily wasn't planning to do all these plugs for the road shows, but I know you guys have some coming up, right? Maybe there's one at the end of August, I think.
Yeah, we're at mspmarketingroadshow.com. It's primarily for our clients. Our members get to attend. It's part of their membership, but we also allow other MSPs, and the topics, like, you don't have to be a client to get value from it. And so there's, and this kind of goes into the strategy I would give. So I'm not just plugging Roadshow, just so you know, but like the strategy. So let me share with you kind of like the three things that we are advising our clients to do right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Number one is, now more than ever, you have to be very selective of who you target and who you acquire as a customer. And we have a term we've coined called HVCs, high value clients. And high value clients are clients that are profitable. So number one, they represent more profit. It's not exactly a lot of revenue. See, this is where people think. They think if it's a lot of revenue, they're going to be an HVC. And that's not necessarily the case. What we often find when we get our members to do an analysis, we show them how to do an analysis of understanding which of their clients are profitable and which ones aren't. They're often shocked because their biggest, their second biggest, their third biggest clients are some of their lowest margin accounts, right? So they're not, they feel like they're doing stuff and they see dollars coming in, but there's no net, right? And so these big clients can often be sucking up all this time and resources. And I'll hear people say, well, we can't take another customer because we're so damn busy. And I say, oh, well, you must be making money hand over fist. And they go, well, no, we're actually kind of struggling right now. I'm like, okay, those two aren't allowed to coincide. All right. You're not allowed to say you're that busy. So in other words, like they're behaving in an emotional manner. They look at dollars coming in, they think they're busy, and they think that translates into profit, and it doesn't. So now more than ever, it's critical that you target high value clients. And a high value client is one that is profitable. Number one, they got to be profitable. Number two, they also don't perceive their spend with you to be exorbitant or high. Mm-hmm. And this is key, right? Because I know MSPs out there, you'd be nodding your head with me. You have that client where you're doing managed services, whatever you're doing for them. And they're coming to you going, I think we're spending a lot of money. I don't think we need all this, right? We're spending a lot of money right now with you guys. And you're looking at them going, dude, you're not spending, you're middle of the road, maybe. You're not like, we got clients that spend a lot more. See, that's not a high value client. Now, they can be converted. We can develop them. But sometimes they're just, because those are the ones that complain about everything. They don't want to take your advice. They're difficult to deal with. So you want to make sure that not only they represent profitability, but they don't perceive what they spend with you to be a lot of money. The other thing that a high value client is they're right in your wheelhouse of what you do best. I'm an entrepreneur. You guys are entrepreneurs. I know what it's like. We all have a little bit of shiny penny syndrome, and an opportunity comes our way and we go, we got to go, build a division. We got to go sell this thing. We got to go do, launch this thing. And then you look back and you go, man, they're not that profitable. Right. Like in my business right now today, there's certain programs we are now going to start not continuing. Not that they're bad programs. It's just that they're not scalable. They're not as scalable and profitable as we want. And you have to sacrifice the good to be excellent, right? That's just the reality. So a high value client, profitable, they don't perceive what they spend with you as a lot of money. They're also growing as a company. You want to be in markets that are pretty stable. Yeah. If you are, if the companies that you have are, they're just kind of not growing, not very entrepreneurial, those tend to not be as great clients because their spend won't exceed because they're just, hey, they've been $1 million a year for 25 years and they're not going to grow. Like, not to say they're a bad client, but they're not typically a high value client, right? The other thing, a high value client should be relatively easy to service. They should be fully integrated on your tech stack. So what we're coaching our clients right now is to shift their marketing more towards strategic partnerships through very select targeting, very strategic targeting, networking, referrals, strategic partnerships, even good old fashioned, I know you guys hate it, direct mail with the telemarketing phone call. Why? Because I can be very specific. When I'm doing a digital ad, it's out there for the world. Anybody clicks on it, right? You're going to get a lot of not qualified. If I'm doing very strategic list building, targeting of my customers or of my prospects, we're actually finding like the direct mail with a telemarketer tied to it is actually producing appointments cheaper than digital, which is crazy. Now, not all digital, pay-per-click's different than retargeting, so to speak, right? So, but in general, right? So we're telling people you gotta focus on those high value clients, identifying who they are in your client base, shedding the lower margin clients so that you can develop the middle 70, because we tend to find Pareto principle, 20% of your clients are going to represent 80% of your profitability and are going to be the right fit. You're going to have a middle 60, 70 are going to be just that. They're good clients, but they can be developed into high value clients. And then you're going to have the bottom 10, 20%. They need to be fired. They need to be gotten rid of so that it frees you up to accept more high value clients. So that's one strategy we're teaching our clients. What ties right into that as well is doubling down on more trust-based marketing. Like I said, when you're being more strategic about who you want as a customer, those high value, high protein clients are very selective about who they choose as their IT provider. Their criteria is not price, which is good for you guys. Like, price is not their number one criteria. It's not their number two criteria. And because of that, they're more selective on who they outsource their support to, who they trust. And the MSP sale is 100% a trust sale, because it's not a physical, tangible product that you sell. I talk to you, Kevin. I believe whether or not you're going to do a good job. There's no other way I'm going to know. So it is very much a trust-based sale. So there's certain marketing strategies you want to employ that deliver higher trust, versus others that actually work against you and that lower your credibility, authority. We call it your cat factor. Let's celebrity, authority, trust, meow mix, right? So there's certain marketing that lowers your cat score, and there's others that really elevate it, right? So you want to right now be doing more of the things that position you as a celebrity, authority, and build trust, versus those that don't. That's the second strategy, is trust-based marketing. And then the third one is just good old-fashioned account management and developing your customers. A lot of MSPs, from our research, only about 13% of, and I'll say MSPs because some of them are break fix, right? They're break fix or they're break fix MSP. They're not pure play. Only about 13% are doing QBRs with their clients, all their clients, on a regular basis. That is a very, very small percentage. And a lot of the reasons are, they're too busy. They don't know how to do it. Sometimes they don't like the customers. They're like, well, I don't want to meet with that guy. He's an asshole, right? Or, that's because, again, it goes back to they're full of these cheap, wrong fit, no good clients, and they can't be developed. You don't even want to deal with them. And you know what I mean? So this all comes full circle. So that's what we're covering at the Roadshow. How do you target better high value clients? How do you implement trust-based marketing? And then how do you develop the clients you have, that middle 70, to be higher value clients? Because that's another secret people don't understand. MSPs always say to me, Robin, I want to find people who value IT. Well, they're not walking around out there like willy-nilly. Sure. They have to be developed. You've got to educate them through a process. You've got to teach them what good is. You've got to teach them how to be good, productive clients for you. There has to be a process in place. They don't just show up. It's like children. You don't have a well-adjusted, polite, intelligent, responsible child just because they're born with your genes, right? You know what I mean? You might get lucky every once in a while, but children need to be developed and clients need to be developed into being what you want them to be. And if, unlike a child, you don't get rid of your kids, but like a client, you can get rid of, right? You know what I mean? So I'm not.
No, one of mine's almost 18, so we're about to get rid of them. So we'll see.
Right. Listen. I mean, yeah, get rid of them in that way. Maybe like throw them out of the house, like when they're 18 and they can be on their own. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. So you're not stuck with a client, right? You didn't give birth to them. So that's the one thing we can still do in America today is select who we want as a customer. So,
yeah. It's, when you're saying this, it's funny because, I'm thinking, damn, I need to go to this event and sit down and listen to this. I think every business owner needs a reminder of these kind of basic principles.
Yeah.
That's probably a lot of the value of just partnering with you, because it's the, people get busy, right? And if people take the path of least resistance, and it's hard to fire a client, and it's hard to think about this, hard to think about that. And it's almost like you need that constant reminder. You take the constant reminders plus, the trends and where the market's going. And I think that's always what I've seen is a lot of the value in being kind of a fly on the wall, a lot of the events, and seeing a lot of the impact you've had on the MSPs. That's what I think I appreciate the most, is that everybody, the vendors, the MSPs, the ancillary service providers, they all need these constant reminders to kind of keep you on track, because it's so easy to get off track and lose sight of these things.
Business is like a junk drawer. Everybody has a junk drawer in their, and you know, that thing collects and collects and collects to the point where you get to a point where you can't even close the damn door because there's so much crap in there, or you look for something you can't find. And at some point you just go, what the hell? You pull a trash can over and you go, what the hell? And there's always a key. You have no idea what the key is for, right? Or a screw or something. And you're like,
Yeah.
what is this for? And you go, well, I don't know, but it's been sitting in here for 3 years. And I was always afraid to throw it out. It's like, look, throw it out. If you haven't used it in 3 years, get rid of it. And I think your business is like a junk drawer. Every once in a while, you got to go through and clean house. And I think now is, given the economic conditions, I think it's more important than ever to really get profitable with what you have now. That's why our tour is called Doing More with Fewer and Less. How do you do more revenue, more profitability with fewer clients, less employees, less complexity? And that's what we're encouraging our members to do. There will be another season when it's time to go full on and go out and double down on new client acquisition and marketing and sales. And I'm not saying, and believe me, I'm not saying stop that. I'm just saying there's a different approach we want to take to new client acquisition, where we're trying to get more high quality, not just quantity, right? And that's going to be more important than ever to get yourself profitable.
Absolutely. The impact on your EBITDA, kind of the overall business, your overall stress level. Yeah, I think that's, again, that's something that a lot of people don't think about, the impact of just negative clients, running an unprofitable business, what that does to your overall, health. But so we'll definitely put some links into the show notes, and we'll obviously be putting this out in different formats. Any other kind of last things that we need to be thinking about, whether it's, the MSPs or the vendors? I mean, anything that any other kind of last tidbits or dimes you want to drop on the industry?
No, I mean, I think I overspoke a little bit. I was sitting here going, Kevin, just being so polite and listen to me, just go on. But
no, yeah, I can listen to you for a couple hours. I mean, we didn't scratch the surface on some of the other things out there, like the automation and the impact of that. But
yeah, I mean, the other part we're talking about at Roadshow, and I think every MSP needs to think about this, is AI and the use of AI. Here's what's interesting. So we're finding that a lot of marketing can be done with AI. It's so funny. There was a staff meeting and we were teaching our team, because we've got a couple guys on our team, Mike Stodola and Will Byers. They are really good at this. I mean, they are eyeballs deep into like knowing how to use AI. And we were teaching our team from writing copy to doing graphics to looking at data. Like we just had AI pull a report where we had inbound calls were coming into MSPs and clients with permission. We put it in there to do an analysis of what are people saying when they're calling into an MSP, those leads. So, and it's like spitting this stuff out super quick, right? And we're having this meeting, and one of the graphic designers was like, I think you're teaching me how to replace myself, or something like you're teaching me that I'm going to be out of a job, right? And and it was kind of funny because we ended up firing her this week because she was, but for other reasons. But anyway, that's not. But seriously, we are using AI more and more in creating videos and doing video production, in list cleaning, and in data analysis and analytics, in graphic design, in writing copy and blog posts, in so many ways. And I think MSPs, you have to be aware of that. Now, a lot of the tools with the vendors, they're already baking in AI already. So you're already experiencing it. But here's another twist on this. I have a number of my members who are holding webinars and even seminars on AI, and they're getting 3 to 4 times the number of attendees to it. So they're basically going out and to their customers saying, okay, if you're trying to figure out AI and what it is and how you can use it, jump on this webinar and we're going to explain it. And they're just getting tons of engagement, a lot of interest in this. And so the part that they're helping with AI, the trick kind of is, how do we translate that into an MSP sale, right? So we're translating that and giving them, here's all the ways you can use AI. And then here's the other thing you got to be aware of, because there's the bad side of AI, because cyber criminals are now using this to spoof you. I mean, Kevin, you should see some of the videos and audio that my team is producing that looks like me and it's not me.
I want to see a video of you talking in Morgan Freeman's voice. That would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the way they're flipping it. Like, here's all the good. So the AI is sort of the little, like, the dangling the carrot out there and getting a lot of business owners to pay attention,
Yeah.
and in webinars and seminars, and getting that attention. And then they're using that to kind of flip it into an MSP sale. So if nothing else, the other part of this event that we're doing, MSP Marketing Roadshow, is the second day is all dedicated to AI. And I think you guys want to be there, because we're not talking from the tech tool side. We're actually talking about it from the marketing side. And that's going to be universally interesting to every one of your customers. And I think you want to know at least what's going on. You have my permission to take some of the things that we're giving you and use that in your MSP to teach, not only use it in your MSP, but then to teach your clients this, right? And that will strengthen your relationship with them. And it's a pretty hot topic right now. If you're trying to get speaking engagements or do webinars or blog posts or social media, using that as a topic is going to get you a lot more traction right now today than saying, okay, cybersecurity, compliance, like those things are kind of not worn out, but they're a little worn out, right? And you need some fresh. So if nothing else, the other second half of the day is really doubling down on AI and using it as a talk track. I could even see some of you using AI to talk about how you are better protecting your customers, how you are using it to service them better, lower their costs, get faster response times, because then it also shows that you're a modern MSP. You're not, you're not just like, people want to see that you're on the cutting edge. They want to see that you're up to date and leading in AI. I think that makes you very attractive in this sea of sameness. And there's a lot of MSPs out there really don't even know what the heck to do with AI right now. So that would be the other thing I would say, just from a topical standpoint. I'm not quite sure yet how you use that to sell AI as a service. That's the part, like, you know what I mean? We still want to sell managed services. We still want to sell, block and tackle that side. So that's the part we're figuring out. But I do think you need to have the basics down and have a good talk track around this for your customers.
No, I agree. I think that's one of the things that concerns me about the market in general, right? There's this push for increased automation. And we talked about margin erosion and all that stuff, increased competitors. But, one of the things that we're telling our MSPs that they're using our Navistack tool, you go in and use the tool, you sit down with them, and you say, you're doing their core, you're doing your core MSP job, right? You're doing the emails, that's still flowing, the backups are still being backed if you're keeping them secure. But we designed this tool to help them, think about the broader technology spend. So not just what they're spending with you, but what are they spending on project management? They start putting this stuff in, and they see that their customer has like 3 or 4 different project management tools. And they have that light bulb moment, like, oh my God, like we're wasting money on 2 or 3 redundant tools. But I think that's where a lot of the MSPs need to get to. I think they need to think using that, AI as a lever, but then going in and talking about how they're going to holistically help their customer, save money, get better grip on not just the expense they have with their MSP, but their overall technology spend. I think that's where a lot of this market's going because of the increased competition, the fact that they have to differentiate. And so I love how you guys are thinking about that, because we're thinking about it in kind of similar manner with these tools that we're building. But yeah, again, it's not a pitch for us, but
hey, well, we got to talk about getting your MSPs. I know there's a lot of us have a lot of crossover, getting them to our event, and you being there. I mean, I'm even willing to gift. I can't give away 100, all the tickets free, but because we're going to sell out with our own members. But we definitely have some tickets available. So maybe we'll talk to you and give you those, and you can pick your favorite children and give them away to those. But yeah, so I mean, because we've got one in Dallas, we've got one in Newark, and we've got one in Vegas, and the Vegas show is going to sell out. We're already, Vegas always is like,
right.
Number one. I wonder why, right? We always do double registration because the no-show rate tends to be a little bit higher in Vegas. I'll let you fill in the blanks as to why that might be.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. We'll say that for another show. But look, hey, I really appreciate your time and the nuggets and just all the wisdom on the industry. We'll get all this stuff up in the show notes, and absolutely, folks that are watching, I've been, the last, I don't even know now, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. I've been a fly on the wall at a lot of these events, and so it's the content, it's the quality, it's the constant reminder. It's smacking you in the back of the head, and getting you to, kind of wisen up and start doing the things that you need to be doing as a business owner. I think this stuff what a lot of the members appreciate. And again, you've had such a massive impact on this market. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so we're thrilled to have you on, and hopefully we'll get you out on another podcast for round 3 at some point.
All right, sounds great.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Yep. Thanks for joining us. Here we go.